Welcome to the lower extremity groups, how to use crutches and mobility aids. Wow, which mobility aid do you choose? Well, there's heaps of different types, but there's three main ones. The normal underarm crutch, which everyone sort of associates with crutches. Then there's the elbow crutch, which is the middle picture here, which doesn't come up to your underarms, just goes to your elbow. And then finally there's the cooler knee scooter or mobility scooter. These knee scooters are all the rage at the moment because they're very easy, but they don't do stairs very well. All right, so we need to be able to learn how to use crutches or mobility aids so that we can get around the place. So let's start with the underarm crutch. So fitting the underarm crutches, basically there's a couple of different knobs which you need to be able to push and things which you need to be able to line up. The first is, if you look at the top picture there, you need 2 or 3 fingers between the arm rest of the crutch and your armpit. So 2 to 3 fingers is the guide, all right? And basically how we get that is based on your height. So down the bottom, in the bottom picture there, you'll see that there's a couple of little knobs to push. Now they are associated with, and usually on the crutches, they have your height written next to it. So if you're 5'7", 6'1", whatever you are, you adjust that knob to tell that crutch how long to be. It's very simple. The only other part of the crutch we'll go through a video here and we'll have a look at is where the wrist touches the arm rest or the hand rest. So if we look at this, there's the knob I was talking about to adjust for height, and then here's the wrist. So the wrist must be in line with that, not the hand, the wrist. And then you use your hand on that to create a slight flexion in the elbow, and there's the underarm section. All right, so it's very important to get that fitting correct. It's pretty easy once you've done it once. Elbow crutches, they're all fitted on height. Okay, so they'll have height buttons on them. These are a lot more comfortable for people, a little bit lighter. The only problem with these is you really are a little bit less stable on them, so we don't always recommend them for elderly clients. But it is a personal choice. Well, mobility scooters, they are all the rage. They certainly don't do well upstairs, but you can adjust these and you can push yourself around with the injured foot or this operated foot up. And these are also good because if you are out and about at the shops, you can actually have a rest and put your feet up onto the chair or the stool itself that this mobility scooter has. So they are quite good, a very good alternative to keeping you mobile whilst you are having periods of immobilization or non-weight bearing and partial weight bearing. So there are those 3 main choices. It is a very individual thing. There's no real preference for mine, but certainly the trend is towards the mobility scooter early on. So you will, no matter what, have to learn how to use a set of crutches if you've had foot surgery, whether it be you've been instructed to be non-weight bearing, which means no weight is to go through your operated foot, or whether you've been instructed to be partial weight bearing, in which only a bit of your body weight can go through your foot. You will need to learn how to walk again using crutches. There's no 2 ways about it. Whether in a wheelchair, mobility scooter, doesn't matter. You'll need to know how to use crutches. So here we go. This video is going to show you how to walk with non-weight bearing, so your foot's not allowed to touch the ground. So we basically swing the crutches through, and then the left foot stays on the ground here. All right, and then we're done. What about getting out of a chair? Well, getting out of a chair is pretty easy, but when you're non-weight bearing, you're not supposed to push through that injured foot. So you've got to rest one hand on a chair. All right, so you're resting that on a chair, and then the other hand is inside the crutches here. And then you've got your leg that's not injured very tightly associated with the chair there. And this other injured foot is sitting out the front, all right, not resting any weight. And then when we go to push up, we're pushing on the chair, on the crutches, and through the left foot in this case. Then we grab the crutches, put them into position, voila, away we go. Sitting back down into the chair, it's basically the reverse of it. The first step though is to make sure that you're as close to the chair as possible with the non-injured foot. So you see that we're quite close here to that brown chair that we're going to sit on. Okay, we're tucked in quite close, even closer. We'll swap all the crutches into our left hand in this case, onto the non-injured side, use them as stability. Sitting down, stabilizing myself onto the chair. Happy days. What about partial weight bearing? Well, after you've been on non-weight bearing for however many weeks you're instructed to be, whether it be 6 weeks, 2 weeks, whatever the surgeon or the injury dictates, then we begin a step 2 partial weight bearing gait. A step 2 gait looks like this, where you're going to play catch up with your foot. So the crutches go out, your foot comes forwards in line with the crutch, and your left foot, your non-injured foot, will catch up to the injured foot. This is the easiest way to start to bear small amounts of weight on your injured foot. An extension of that is the step through with partial weight bearing. This will mean we're stepping past the crutch and the injured foot. So we start there, we set up. All right, so we're stepping to the crutch and then through. Stepping to the crutch, then through. Stepping to the crutch, then through. And once you get the hang of it, it becomes easy. What about going up and down stairs? All right, once you're partial weight bearing, then we have a bit of a rule. And going upstairs, well, good foot goes up first. Going downstairs, crutches go down first, then bad foot goes down first. Alright, then good foot follows. So there's a pretty good little tutorial. Scooters are probably the most common mobility device used at the moment, but they don't do stairs real well. So at some stage you will have to transition to using crutches. I hope this tutorial's helped.